As we work with Vue, we want to customize this application so it's working the way we like it. And right now, let's look on some options that we have at how we set up our environment. We don't necessarily go to all individual areas, and this is, I found out, a better way to do this as you work with applications. For example, if we're going and have problem with some display options, we want to go to this tab and modify memory usage and other effect. So this way it better understand. But overall, I want just overview what we have in these options. So in this case, if we some problems or some things we want to modify, we know where to find this. So you see in the options, we have 4 tabs. We have general preferences, display options, unit and coordinates, and operations. The most customizations will probably happen in these 2 tabs, and some will be in the unit and coordinates. And we'll look on this in a second. So right here, general preferences, you notice we have groups, like for example, save, load options, preview options. We have object options, render, undo, redo, ecosystem, user interface, and some presets that we can preload it. So in load and save, we look before in another tutorials a little bit on this section. It's where we can specify what startup scene we want to do. Do we want to save our configurations when we close applications? Do we want to save a scene of the small picture of last render? So in this case, you kind of can reference when you look over this. Also, we was looking on backup, how many backups you wanted. If you want to use it system browser, if you remember when we open like materials, it can open or Vue type browser with special categories and folders for this, or if you want, use it one that come with you like Mac or PC. Okay, and after savings, of course, this is probably you want to be sure that after saving is enabled, also how many after saves, and make a backup. So on the preview options, we have a preview how we want display. If we're going material and function, so let's go on material, and you can see it's a sphere. So what's happening when we create any material, this is our preview. So when we open material as well, this is our preview. So we can specify if we want to have it sphere or if we want to have it cube. So example right here, it's cube. We can switch to this cube, click OK. And you can see right here, we have it now cube as preview. This is up to you what you like it. I will keep it again by default. I will keep it to the sphere. Next, we also have options to override save option data. So it's whatever if people save, we can customize this more. We have the same disable automatic preview render. This is option will help you to speed up a little bit. Because right now when I create something, it's after refresh on the right here on materials. If I enable disable, then I need right click and says refresh every time when I want. So it's one after refresh. You have a slower machine, you maybe want enable this, so it will reduce some background tasks that perform. But for me, I will just keep it on. And only render materials preview in active editor. Right now it will render in here in other ones, so it's everywhere. But if you enable it, will be just only which window is active. Again, this is to optimization to make your machine run a little bit faster, and this is mostly if you have it older or less memory. Next, very fast, we have it object options. This one will look a little bit closer when we start working with import objects like from poser or some other properties, so we'll look on this one. But overall, here's how we can display, how we can place it when we create it. Render options, we'll look on this render options when we go to our render properties and look. But overall, here's a predefined, very generic information is included. For example, render stacking options, it's when we preview how many renders can place and other things. Undo, redo, this is how many you can times press Ctrl Z, how much have it a history keeping. You can also remember this is used memories. You can also increase this way, you can go more steps back, but it will take memory, and if it's overflow your RAM, it will start swapping on a hard drive, so it will take a little bit longer. And also, anytime you can flash history. This is actually useful if you want some elements you don't want anymore, or something there you want to clean up, empty more memory. You can click on that. So ecosystem options. When we start working to population, this is how many populations can be done before warning pop up, and usually it is a little bit below from what I have it, but right there when you can see after populations come up and says, hey, you reach so many, your system resource can drop down. So this is just a warning material, warning area. User interface, it is interactive number field, so we can type numbers instead just sliders. We have it same as interactive slider changes. We can edit object on selection, double click, show, okay, cancel and floating, like those buttons. You can use them, or otherwise you will have it X, so you can click on X. So it's up to you how you like it. And currently it's dockable editors. We'll just leave it that way. Right here on the right side, it's a different presets. And what's happening when I go on preset, I can have different navigation view, other ones, modify all of this. Also, if you're familiar with applications like Maya, 3D Max, or Cinema 4D, for example, I work with those applications, and you like the key binding and other elements like with those applications, you can select and apply this. So it will change your navigations and your interface presets as well in this case. Okay, let's go cancel this one. We have it also anytime when you do some mistakes and you don't remember what you change, you always can go to reset options to the default. So that way you will can experiment, see if it's work, doesn't work, and don't worry about leave it in a non-workable state. You always can come back. Gamma options, it's 1.2. It's just a standard for the how the lighting and other things applied. Most time you will just work on 2.2 workflow elements, but if you want it, you have specific requests from client or other things you want to change, so you can modify this as well. We'll leave it this all by default. In display options, we have it one big one. It's how the 3D quality preview, because this is work directly with your video card. And sometimes maybe if it's your application did something wrong, hardware, whatever, crash it, sometimes you can come and see message where it says, hey, you want to run in capability mode. So it will switch some of this. For example, OpenGL from a shader 4 may switch to OpenGL software to be sure more capability mode will work if it's occur any problem with the card. Anytime you can click on video board and you can see what currently you're using if you don't remember, so you can apply properly settings. And also you can click after display configurations. A view will try to determine the best optimum way to set up to use your video card for the displaying. Then next, also we have it enable background, and this is let on a background to create processing. So it's the sliders. It's very straightforward. You want faster or better between instant draw, background draw. It's again performance of your computer. If you're satisfied or not, you can change. One below, it's kind of important to know what is to happen. Sometimes when you put it too many objects maybe and your settings is low, you'll see instead the object shape, you'll see just the binding boxes. Same with ecosystem, and it's probably because right here you reach the limit of display instance. You can always minimize an instance, or you can increase them. For example, many times, because I know my video card is nice one, so I can hold it, and I think it's 8 GB memory, so I can increase my maximum memory use if I need it. And also sometimes I just add zeros on the end, so it's have more polygons, because I know my card can hold it and I don't want to display those elements. Same things, if you have a problem with just see binding boxes, you can go in this area and just increase and see if it's work. Again, this is nice way to know to degrading quality of the preview to keep up performance of your computer. So it's the reason why we have here. OpenGL texturing, it's a straightforward apply texture map to plant, so we can preview. Again, this is options for the preview, not for the render. So this is all how you can see as you work. Okay, we have it also preview atmospheres, lens flare, and all additional. On the below, we have it view options, and you notice right here, when I create my terrain, yours is maybe blue, mine is red, and because I want to modify right here, so I want to be more visible, so I switch to the red color on selected and on current material. So in this case, when I work with some elements, they're more visible on the screen. So observe, if you work for yourself, you maybe want to switch to a little bit less contrast. You can go with the blue as default or other things, but again, it's up to you. All these also options, we'll look on those view options later, each one what they're doing. Below we have it maintain drop rate. So right now it's 10 frames per second going. You can increase if you want faster. Again, increasing will take more resources. It'll go a little bit slow down your machine, but if it's very powerful, you can increase. It will be faster redraw when you scale objects, move them around, or work with terrain. And of course, decorated mode, it is allowed us if it's below 25% or below a specific size you set it, it will degrading gracefully. Background colors, use paper. This is kind of useful if you do modeling, so I can preload it my background to model according to the schematics. Again, this is just to view options. And OpenGL is after. You can set how far away it can go. Objects or elements will clip on the horizon, so it's reduced render time. Units and coordinates. This is where we set what do you like at meter, centimeters, imperial, like foot, inches, whatever you want to modify here. World coordinates right now is by default. We have it Z-axis up. If you work with Cinema 4D or other ones, you may want to switch to Y-axis. It's up and as well as left or right-handed. Below spherical scenes, this is actually not just a view. This is will affect how you render. If I want to create a round planet, I can go right here, select planet, and let me just as example put it 10 kilometers only, and we'll use it also planetary. Okay, we'll go okay, click there, click OK, and you'll notice that now I'm not flat terrain, the infinity. I'm on a round planet. So this is a global kind of change, and if you want to create asteroid, planet, or other things, you can go in here and switch what you want. So I'm going to disable that one because we'll have flat scenery for now. Snap to the grid right here. If you notice, we have the grid elements, and for example, when I create element, let me scale way up, maybe too much. Okay, let's go put it right there. So this element, when I rotate, it's rotate freely. If I rotate and hold Shift key, you can see it's kind of snapping. So it's helped me to rotate properly if I need it. And inside the options, so we can modify what the grid resolution we wanted, currently 10 meters, what rotation resolution, how much it will snap other ones. Also order of rotation, sea level altitude is by default if you need it with water, other things. Also sea level you can modify if you want to change maybe some of the mapping properties, which look later in materials. And also light units, it's a VU unit. You can switch to luminous candles or whatever more preferable you understand better. Okay, operation, this is simple key binding. You can change here, preload it different one, or modify if you need it, add your own, and also modification. The one thing, a couple of things I want to point to you. So right here, if you notice, we have a VU content library folder. So, and also personal collections. For me, I usually create separate folder when I have my libraries and everything. On this case, it's can work between different, and putting in specific, this has allowed me to work with multiple versions, and they refer only to one collection, so I don't need it have duplicates of the object. Also, if you work with collaborations with other people, or overall you try to keep your materials in specific folders, same things, you can add additional texture map folders. On this case, when preloaded object and it says, hey, texture not found, it's could reference to this area, search and pull out from this area, so you can add here. This is a very fast kind of overview of the options. Again, many of them we did not go specifically, and as we work, as we're going to utilize some of those options, we'll go back to this option menu and modify it or adjustment some inside. This way you will learn a little bit better and hopefully will help you to understand the application.